Coming up, Jonathan rides a camel and witnesses a dolphin pooping. Welcome to Jonathan Bird's Blue World.
The Red Sea is known to divers all over the world as one of the places you absolutely must visit. It has a reputation for clear water and absolutely breathtaking reefs. So cameraman Todd and Bill are joining me in Egypt for a Red Sea dive trip. And if you're going all the way to Egypt, you really ought to see the pyramids. So, as our first adventure, we grab a cab to Giza on the outskirts of Cairo, where we do the tourist thing and take a horse and buggy to a place where we can try riding camels. Clearly, cameraman Todd is not an experienced camel rider. Then our guides lead us out into the desert. We're riding camels to the pyramids. I've seen a million pictures of the pyramids in my life, but I never expected I would get to see them in person. As we ride closer and closer, their true size becomes visible. Walking around the grounds, it's hard to believe that people built these completely by hand. We visit the Sphinx, which is very impressive and popular. It's crowded. And then later that night, we walk around Cairo to check out the local scene. But then, some bad news. So, due to some problems with Egyptian customs, we missed our flight from Cairo down to Marsalam. But it's okay, because instead, we're driving across Egypt from Cairo to Marsalam, 7 hours of sightseeing, and it's gonna be fabulous. Oh, and we have no air conditioning. Our dive boat embarks from Marsalam, 630 kilometers, that's 450 miles from Cairo. We hire a driver and begin a drive across the desert. Todd and Bill are making the most of it while our driver focuses on the road. We pass a lot of wind turbines. It's nice to see Egypt using their substantial wind to make electricity. After a while, we reach the coast and drive a road where the mountains meet the Red Sea, and it's starkly beautiful. Finally, 9 hours after we left Cairo, we reach our dive boat at the marina in Marsalam. We board the Sea Wolf for a week of diving the remote southern waters of the Red Sea. Because the boat is not full, I get my own cabin, so I can unpack all my gear everywhere. The next morning, we depart for our adventure, sailing out of the marina, past shallow reefs, and out into blue water. We're heading south to the very southern end of Egypt to find some of the most pristine reefs in the Red Sea. It's a few hours before we reach our first dive site. The crew puts an inflatable in the water to help tie up the boat. They're securing the boat to Elphinstone Reef, a famous dive site. Rather than use anchors, which damage coral, the boat is tied to a mooring, which is permanently attached to the reef. The captain maintains the Sea Wolf in position while they get it tied up. Reefs in this part of the Red Sea rise to within a meter of the surface from depths of about 30 meters. These tall reefs are called bommies. Before our dive, we get a briefing, which is where they tell you all the exotic things they've ever seen at the site that you will probably never see. And of course, some local conditions and currents. Then it's time to suit up.
I hit the water, followed by Todd and Bill, and the first thing we see in the clear blue water is jellyfish. These are moon jellies, harmless to people and beautiful to film. Before we even get below the surface, a pod of bottlenose dolphins comes over to check us out. They aren't really interested in playing with us, but they stick around for a few minutes. They're accompanied by an oceanic white-tipped shark. Ever wondered what it looks like when a dolphin poops? Well, here you go. That was awesome. Once the dolphins wander off, we sink down to the reef, and I can't believe the colors. The Red Sea is known for gorgeous soft corals in pastel colors, and this is certainly no disappointment. As I swim along the wall of coral, I am just taking in how beautiful these reefs are. These lush reefs also provide the ideal habitat for tons of small fish. Fish called anthias are everywhere. Their colors, orange, pink, and purple, almost mimic the colors of the soft coral. Everywhere I go, I swim through clouds of these little fish. In the overhangs, there are schools of glassfish. These reefs are extremely healthy and vibrant, and everywhere I swim, there are anthias by the millions. Some of the coral on this reef is actually a mustard-colored hydroid called fire coral. It's not a true coral. If you look closely, you can see what looks like hairs. It may look soft and fuzzy, but fire coral is bad news if you rub your skin against it. Those hairs are stingers, and believe me, this stuff is no fun at all. There are not many large animals around, but I find a white-tip reef shark resting on the sand under an overhang. Nearby, a dead surgeonfish with a bite out of it is jammed in the reef. It was the victim of a hungry moray eel, which no doubt bit the fish, but couldn't manage to pull it back into its den. A moon jelly has drifted over to the reef where a pair of damselfish are nibbling on it. The reef is a bad place for a jelly. As we rise to the surface at the end of the dive, we come across a school of fusilier feeding on plankton. Until something frightens them. Finally, it's time to get out of the water. Woo! Soon, the captain is moving the boat to our next dive site.
Don't go away. On the next dive, Jonathan is going to explore some coral caverns.
For our second Red Sea dive, we will dive from an inflatable because we're going to a spot that the big boat can't reach. We have to time our water entry carefully so we all roll together and drift with the current to the reef. But the reward is an even more spectacular reef. This particular spot has tons of reef swim-throughs. Todd, Bill, and I have a blast swimming into them and exploring. They feel a little bit like caves. They're formed when reefs grow together above, like a canopy in a forest. But there are tons of openings to let in light and allow divers to leave, so this is not cave diving. I call them coral caverns. Still, swimming through these passages with shafts of light twinkling around me is a surreal experience. On the sand outside the coral caverns, a blue-spotted stingray is feeding. He digs into the sand and vacuums out worms and clams. Stingrays have a stinger on their tail used for defense. After a few minutes, we start making our way back to the boat. At the top of the reef, we find a Hawksbill Sea Turtle looking for something to eat. Hawksbills eat things that most animals could never digest, like sponges, crinoids, and, in this case, soft coral. It doesn't look particularly appetizing. Finally, we surface at the inflatable. As the sun goes down, I reflect upon the day. The reefs of the Red Sea are truly astonishing, and they definitely live up to their reputation. I can hardly wait to see what they look like on a night dive. Hey everyone, thanks for watching our latest episode all the way to the end. You're crazy if you don't subscribe. Hit that subscribe button now so you won't miss our next episode. And check out our merch link in the description for some Blue World swag.